Hey guys, Big Al here from Big Al's Big Nerd Show.
Shut your hole. I knew
Coming to
you
you with
said
episode 3
Hey, slow down.
of
I didn't.
Wasteland
I had
3.
got bedroom issues.
And just got back from killing off the psychotic people. I get to the doctor. The doctor's like, hey, I'd like to talk to you, but I got 3 people dying. You need to bring me 3 special pieces of equipment so that you can save their lives. And I basically say, I have 3 pieces that can help save their lives. And one by one, I go through them, I save them. Then you look at that 4th patient there. The 4th patient, there is not a blessed thing that you can do. She's been shot in the head. He won't give many details on her, but he's thankful that you saved the other 3. So he's like, hey, is there any way that I can work at your place and, treat her, but also treat you guys for free whenever you need it, and sell you guys stuff at a discount? And I'm like, I'm sold. That was a good cooperative work. Meanwhile, here we have the museum curator who believes that she is just telling the truth. Even though, if you look at most museums and most museum curators, they're really like, hey, how can we show artifacts from different cultures that we've invaded? But, maybe post-apocalyptic world has changed that, and museums have changed. Who knows? Anyway, we go back to the sheriff, and we just beat those guys, and the sheriff says, okay, but now, what about the people that were behind those people? You see, it looks like the nightclub owner, Farron Brygo, might be behind the caper, and she wants me to investigate him. Well, not sure that I'm up to facing Farron Brygo yet, so I'm gonna go back to my base and heal up now that I got a doctor, except on the radio, there's this rich-sounding person that says, go to the rich side of town, we got a deal to make. And I'm like, hey, rich people, I'm good with working for them for money. Well, then we get interrupted on the radio from a crazy cat lady who says, basically, hey, Rangers, come over here, I need your help. There's one of my people, he's making bombs or something like that. And, Crazy Cat Lady sounds a lot more interesting and a lot less tricky than Rich Dude. So, let's go for Crazy Cat Lady. Sounds good to me. Well, also, she gives an exact cash prize. We get to her. She is a Crazy Cat Lady. Old, smoking, hates the cops, yet for some reason is willing to give us a try. You know what? Not going to question it. We're mercenaries. Money would be good, especially because we don't have much right now. I blew all of my money on ammo. So we go in, and immediately we notice there's a tripwire. Now, these guys have some of the best conversations in the game, but I'm going to get this one done first try. I'm going to clear this thing and take these guys out. All I got to do is get all my people lined up and avoid the tripwire, and looks like there is a thing at the end of the hall, a turret, and they triggered the tripwire. Dag nabbit. And the machine gun's unloading on us. Well, that's not good. Let's try that again. 2nd time's the charm. Okay, we're coming up here, getting my people lined up, and somebody trips the tripwire. Despite the fact there's a bunch of defective clones in this room, my people are dumber. Well, that's frustrating, but maybe I can still win this. Don't know that I'm still gonna win this. Yeah. 3rd time's the charm. Going in here. I love their barks. They're great. Eureka! Okay, so once again, we're gonna come through here. We're gonna shoot. Oh, well, we completely missed the turret. So now everybody is once again bunched together. Let's try to go and separate up a little bit and take out probably the turret first, because the turret is a lot weaker. Also, hey, when you got energy weapons that do bonus damage against turrets, go for the turrets. Getting my people lined up. Got Wolf over there, shooting more into that light machine gun turret. And wouldn't you know it, just barely out of range. But, cover is good. Unfortunately, submachine guns in this game. I I remembered assault rifles dealing more damage. I mean, you know, in real life, all it takes is one 7.62 millimeter bullet to give you a really bad day. But, you know, in a video game, it's like, oh, nope, you gotta shoot him 30 times. But I really remember them doing more. And I'm out of range for my machine gunner. Once again, my MVP here, who just lays waste to everything, out of range. So, yeah. Throws a shrink grenade at me because apparently therapy grenades will make my guys weaker and more easy to kill. Wouldn't you know it, they are actually going down. And everybody's shrunk. And mostly dead, and when you're shrunk, you deal not nearly as much damage. Well, we'll see how this goes. Fortunately, we got Major Tomcat on our side, although I'm a little bit terrified he'll die here. So, maybe fourth time. Fourth time is the charm. Holy cow, we killed the turret. And we killed a clone! We got a badass boss kill bonus because she's got leadership. Now, Banshee was shrunk, but it doesn't matter because my sniper is finally starting to get into proper form. And then Marshal Quan deals very little damage, but he shot him 6 times, so there you go. Turns out those were clones of this dude. This dude is pathetic. Not in the, like, he's super sad way, but just in a, he develops this personality. Well, he has this personality that just makes you feel bad for him. He evokes pity. So in that sense, he's pitiful.
I guess I'm kind of afraid.
And I basically decide, you know what? He's not dangerous enough to be a major threat to the human race. So I tell her, he promised to be a better tenant. You know, ignore all the gunshots and the explosions you heard earlier. And she's like, okay, I'll pay you your money then. Crazy cat ladies, giving you easy money since, what is this, 2277? Anyway, we go to Broadmoor Heights. It is the rich part of town, and the rich part of town means good rewards. Except, Gideon, who happens to be Lucia's uncle, he is a little problematic. You see, he kind of sort of hints that maybe you should overthrow the patriarch. And I mean, you know, it's one thing to say down with the patriarchy when society is going okay and people aren't in danger of starving to death. And, oh boy, this could get some hate here, what I'm trying to say. But in essence, my characters are like, people are in danger of starving to death. And right now, they want as few people as possible to die. So they'll talk about regime change after things are a little more stable. And he doesn't offer them more money than Crazy Cat Lady, but he offers a monocle. So, along the way, they run across a robot pet that used to be Lucia's. And they basically say, give her the pet. And the guard says, okay, fine, I'll give her the pet. Now, I've sped this up to 3 times the speed because it's incredibly boring following this robot. It's just not fun. It's an escort quest, which are not fun. Only there are no enemies to fight. But in the end, it's all worth it because there is hidden treasure. And this hidden treasure contains, you know, liver box and some EMP grenade and some ammo. But also, this contains a better machine gun. And if you guys know who I've loved in my party so far, it's been the machine gunner. We go into the house, and it's her house, it's Lucia's house. Nobody else is there, so it's all basically Lucia's stuff. And she's like, oh man, this house is trash. Do we help her clean it up? No. We help her loot it. And she's like, well, if you want to loot it, I guess you can.
If you think you can guess it, I don't mind.
And so we loot it. We loot everything. Oh, yeah! I totally meant to blow up that mine. That was totally part of my plan. Okay, this one was actually part of my plan. I was pretty sure he wouldn't die, and I couldn't disarm that one. So those were both totally planned mines that I blew up in order to properly loot the place. Well, then we go back.
Hey, chums! Welcome to Taiwan Jones's Emporium. My store has
I
everything your
hate to
looks
interrupt
sardine.
her because she's great. Then we go over to Brygo's little place. Now, if you've ever played any sort of an RPG that has a CD tavern or, you know, place like this, I don't really need to tell you what all's there. It's gambling, it's women, it's also men. And I had to edit a little bit out of this because there's some equipment in here that is not safe for work. But basically, I go through, I explore, I go upstairs. I said I go upstairs. Oh yeah, first of all, I tell a druggie that he's bad because that's how you solve drug problems, is you tell the druggies, you're bad, don't do drugs. Problem solved! Well, I got into a fight here at one point, and it didn't work out, so I'm gonna try it again. And these guys in here are like, hey, we're celebrating, and it's like, congrats, enjoy your party, and then they're like, yeah, but screw you, and we're not looking for a fight, we're just mercenaries, but he's like, no, we're gonna fight you now. And then they set my entire party on fire. Everybody is just in fire and in pain, and Lucia is down because that's her hobby in this game. Her favorite thing to do is collapse. And, she's not the only one. Marie tries to fire her shotgun, and it deals no damage at all, so that didn't really work. Banshee goes for a shot, and then Banshee actually decides to move out of the fire. Well, Dusty, my machine gunner, got a flamethrower, so she gets a kill, but only one. I get the impression if I'd have stuck with a machine gun, I'd have dealt more damage, but oh well. Moving on. Once again, my sniper finishing it off. And then Quan comes in and actually does damage with his assault rifle. Well, it's been a little bit. My guys haven't quite died though, and Quan reses her. Lucia is back from the brink of death, and then Quan runs completely out of cover for some reason. Well, this guy runs right in front of the person with the flamethrower. Pro tip, don't stand directly in front of the person with the flamethrower. This is advice that will do you well through many parts of your life. Official Big Al's advice. Well, then I continue on. Marie actually does something useful. Yay. And Kendall up here, who runs the, once again, like, all sorts of violence, blood spray, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine, that's cool. And then it gets into anything remotely regarding sex, and instantly I'm like, guys, I'm really uncomfortable here. I know, it says something about me, but moving on. He tells me that Delgado's hiding in this place after I bribe him. So I go over here to the floor manager, and I'm like, I know Delgado's here. The floor manager blows a lot of smoke. But in the end, he's like, yeah, so, that happened, but it's not my fault, and it's not my boss's fault. It's actually this other third party. And this is the part of the game that I like least as far as plot goes, because your options are basically, no deal, you gotta die, or this all makes perfect sense, I should check on McTavish. But I go check on McTavish. Once again, just trying to talk. I come in here, I step up, and the people are like, hey, leave. And I'm like, I just want to talk to them. And they're like, no, you must die. And they come running in and fight. And I'm like, oh, geez, it's a dog. It's going to mess me up. Nope. And most of the other guys come in. They don't exactly do a whole ton of damage. And then the floor boss comes in, and he wipes out one of his own people and Lucia. Once again, there she is on the floor till I res her. And then this time, it is Marshal Quan who actually produces some value other than resing Lucia. So there you go. Sometimes sometimes assault rifles can actually produce value. I knew there was a reason I brought him. And then my machine gunner just one-shots a heavy turret because she's just awesome. And sniper's gonna snipe. Well, then the foreman's got like 3 health left, so Lucia finishes him off. And there's this guy just way the heck out here. He doesn't want to come to me, so fine. Snipe him, see what happens. One shot.
All you got?
Well, of course, I loot the place. And then you go and see McTavish in the back, and he's like, yeah, all my people, they're cheap, but please don't break my expensive door. You come in, and he's like, yeah, all this was totally my plan. None of this was my boss's plan, except he's a crappy liar, and it turns out it is his boss's fault. That isn't information that you wanted to know, because now there is no way that the marshals are going to be satisfied with just taking him out. The marshals, oh yeah, and he offers to bribe me, but at this point I'm like, it can't end well if I take a bribe. Even though I did spend all of my money on ammo on accident, that's a long story. So I go back to the marshal, and sure enough, she's like, yeah, he has to go down. It's treason. You gotta take him out. You know, bring him in dead or alive. And, well, as I've said many times already, my mercenaries, they don't want to kill people. They'll do what they have to, and this is, you know, hoping to reduce tensions in town, to make the world a better place, but they don't want to kill people. All the same, you show up to Farron Brago, totally not Brian Fargo, and say, hey, we gotta arrest you. And you know what he does? He flips over the table like an old Japanese man, and then his guns, I love this bug, they're just free-floating like he's in some anime thing. And then, who does he shoot down? He shoots down Lucia. Once again, she just cannot stay alive at all, ever. And once again, my machine gunner gets all the results. Machine guns, heavy machine guns, very, very good. Well, then we knock down Farron Brago. It's named after Brian Fargo, folks. We arrest him. We don't let him go into town because we do not want a Jeffrey Epstein style, well, he must have killed himself somehow with 5 bullets in the back of his head, etc. We want to actually pursue justice and make sure everything's straight. Meanwhile, we go to the back of his place, and who do we find? We find the kidnapped marshal. And it turns out nothing bad happened to him. He was perfectly fine, unharmed. It makes you wonder what Farron Brago's final goal was. Because, you know, it's not like he could say anything other than, I was kidnapped here. And all of these people knew that I was kidnapped.
What are you gonna pay?
I don't get Brago's goal, but also, I don't really like the mobsters. Now, some people in the marshals are a little bit corrupt, but you know, some of them aren't. And this is one of those things of, does one bad apple spoil the bunch? Well, I'm not touching that subject with a 10-foot pole, but I am going to let them run my armory, and from there, that's pretty much it for the quests inside of town. So at this point, I hope that you guys have a good time, stay sane, because it's wild out there. Take care of yourselves. Yeah, punk ain't no religious cult. Punk means thinking for yourself. You ain't hardcore just 'cause you